Hey, who's ready for some more guitar porn? As I said yesterday, if you're not into guitars, just scroll on because this is going to be just guitar geek stuff. I showed you a guitar yesterday that I built myself back in the 80s, and that guitar I loved very much, and it's still a great guitar, but I quickly came to the realization that if something ever happened to that guitar, if it got stolen or broken on the road, that it would take me another year to build another one. So I decided that at the time I was touring and making pretty good money, and I thought, well, if I deserve a nice guitar, I'm going to go buy myself the best production guitar that I can find, and if something happens to it, I can just go buy another one. And so I had Jeff Gould over at Modulus Graphite build me this guitar, which at the time this model was called a Blackknife. It's basically a Stratocaster type of guitar with a carbon fiber neck on it. They call it graphite, but it's carbon fiber is supposedly 30 times stiffer than the stiffest wood. The neck itself has no truss rod inside of it. It's no adjustment. It's never been adjusted. It's been on hundreds of flights all over the world, and it has gone from zero air pressure cargo holds into steamy tropical airports and into a jostling third world van into a frozen air-conditioned hotel ballroom, and you open it up and it's still in tune. Super stable. The fretboard is a phenolic, I guess that's a type of plastic of some sort, and it's got it came with a set of EMGs, which were popular pickups that I was using at the time, and it had those were black. I guess they were SAs at the time. I have an active system. What I really liked about that was that you'd never get shocked off it because the strings weren't grounded into the system. I enjoyed that, and I liked the complete absence of hum in the active systems. But recently I've changed the pickups over to this set that Kid Anderson down at Greaseland gave me, that he got from a guy named David Chillashvili. They call him Chili, and he makes a set of makes pickups under the name Chill Tone. I like these a lot. These are passive pickups, and I think passive pickups have a more airy sort of dynamic sound to them than the slightly more compressed sound that active pickups do. This is I use like I did with the guitar I built. I used toggles so that I could rather than the 5-position switch, so I could use the front and back at the same time, which is a position I use a lot. This is a Washburn Wonder Bar, which was a high-tech 1980s top-mounted tremolo system. One of the things that selling points of it was that supposedly, because it had all these adjustments on the thing, there you go, that you could adjust it so that you could bend a chord, and you could and it works pretty well for about a half step. And then after that, you're still off in the strings all bending to different pitches. But I don't do a tremendous amount of that. Mostly just for putting a little waver in chords, that sort of thing. But I don't know. I think today I think I would probably just go back to a standard Fender style of tremolo. Originally, it didn't have this pickguard on it. It was like a lot of 80s instruments. It was no pickguard, and the pickups were mounted straight into the front of the guitar, and as were the pots. So it was basically just 3 black pickups and 3 black knobs and 3 black switches. on the front of the thing. But after 15 years or so, what happens when you don't have a pickguard is that it gets scratched up, and so the paint was really it was down into the wood. I think it's bass or poplar or something like that, and it was looking pretty trashy. And when I left the band, I put this made this plastic pickguard. It's clear plastic, and I originally had a piece of paper behind it that I would switch out, thinking I would switch it out. At first I had kind of a tooled leather sort of pattern with it, and then I switched over to this cowburst pattern, which I kind of like because it sort of camouflages the basic parts of the guitar. And had that on there for about 15, 16 years. And then recently when I switched over to these chill tones, I made a new pickguard and actually painted the pattern onto the back of a new clear plastic pickguard. So it's looking better these days than it did at the time. But it's still a pretty worn guitar. This is the old story. This is the first ding that I got in this guitar, and it was. I had had the guitar probably for a month or so, and we were playing at a huge kind of society wedding down in Dallas, Texas, and we were in this gigantic hotel ballroom, like the size of a football field. You couldn't even see the other end of the place, and it was for the daughter of a guy that owned the Texas Rangers baseball team. And there were all these, bigwigs, captains of industry. Steve Miller was there and decided he wanted to come up and sing a song. And so I said, you can use my guitar. And so he takes my guitar and he's up there doing, midnight hour or something. And he takes a long solo, and then he goes and decides that he's going to do the, over the head, play behind your neck trick, and he does that, and I think he was pretty lit up, and he takes the guitar off and smashes it accidentally into a chandelier that was hanging right over the stage. The stage was fairly high, the ceiling was fairly low, and there were glass crystals all over the place, and that was the first ding on the guitar. And I thought, well, if that's how it had to happen, so be it. This one is Steve and I, Ashman and I, used to use wireless transmitters, and sometimes I'd run out into the crowd. And one night we were at the Great American Music Hall, and the place was packed, and we had run to the back of the place, and when we started to run back forward towards the stage again, and Steve lost me in the crowd, and I'm trying to find my way through a space between people, and I slip in some type of liquid. I'm going to hope that it was a drink of some sort, not bodily fluids, but anyway, I slip and I go down, and the guitar hits the ground right here, and the cable from the from the transmitter, which is mounted here, just made the next couple of lovely dents in the bottom there. Broke off some paint, made a nice dent there. This is a standard hi-hat falling over on the guitar in its stand kind of injury that I seem to have on multiple instruments as well. The like I said, all the stuff, all the hardware is all top mounted in this guitar, with the exception of the controls, which are mounted from the back, and because, like I said, it didn't have a pickguard at the time, and so it is what it is. Anyway, there you have it. That's my early '80s Blackknife Stratocaster from Modulus Graphite. And who knows what we'll see tomorrow.